Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of Red Dead Redemption Character Analysis. We're back here, just kind of trying to stay more consistent with the character analysis. I'm kind of at a little bit of a standstill. I'm trying to figure out if which characters I want to do, and to finish up the Red Dead character analysis series. I'm trying to figure out what characters I want to do, or if I want to skip some characters. So I'm kind of in between. Like there might be some more episodes coming out, or we might be, closing in on the end. This isn't the last episode, but I'll definitely let you guys know when it's the last character analysis episode. But I'm just trying to make sure I cover all the Red Dead characters because really there's a lot of interesting characters, especially in the second one. I just really want to make sure, like I was saying in past episodes, I really want to make sure um, that I cover all the bases and just get all the characters and whatnot. I'll just, pretty much covering all the characters. So I'm just kind of like in between trying to figure out which characters I want to cover and some that I might skip over in Red Dead. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But there's not too much else, too much left, I'm just saying. But just a little bit some information there. But we are back here, and today I'm going to be doing Sean McGuire, which he's a very interesting character. He's probably one of my favorite characters in Red Dead 2. He's a very colorful character, colorful personality. He has a lot of funny quotes and some funny moments I'll be going over here. I think he's overall one of my favorite characters. He's a funny character at times, and overall he's just a good guy. So there will be spoilers, but I'm sure most of you guys know what happens. But yeah, spoilers are ahead. But we're just going to get right into it here. Of course, all our info off the Red Dead Wiki, good site. So, getting right into his background, Sean was born in Ireland, specifically the county of Donegal, and which he has mentioned in the, I think it's the mission actually, you guys are seeing right now over the gameplay. He would spend his early childhood there in Donegal. Sean's family was neighbors with a man named O'Driscoll, which they couldn't stand. Sean's father was Darag, I think that's how you pronounce his name. McGuire, an infamous Fenian outlaw who fled to America with Sean before being hunted down and killed by officials. The young Sean was sent to reform school, but it did little for him. Sean first met Dutch and Hosea at a bar somewhere in North Elizabeth. After seeing a factory pocket watch at Dutch, Sean followed the pair off into a dark alleyway and threatened them at gunpoint. Much to Sean's surprise, both Dutch and Hosea simply laughed and dared Sean to shoot them, which he did, but it turned out the pair spotted Sean first and likely taken the bullets out of Sean's gun. Instead of killing him, Dutch and Hosea decided to give Sean some food and inducted him into the Vanderlyn gang. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much a short background for Sean. But cool that he grew up in Ireland and whatnot. Very strong Irish accent. I also love that. But he does appear in Reddit Online. I'll go over that. The protagonist can encounter Sean at Tanner's Reach, where he will initially hold them at gunpoint upon seeing them inside the cabin. Quickly calming himself, Sean begins speaking of having become separated from his group before giving the protagonist a robbery tip on a nearby passing stagecoach. Afterwards, Sean could be found again inside his cabin and will offer paid killings, thefts, jailbreaks, and other coach hold-up missions for the player. His missions give negative honor. He also appears in Blood Money and the new one of the updates, Guido Martelli's Criminal Network, and offers new missions to the protagonist. So he appears briefly, just like amongst the other story characters. He appears briefly in Red Dead Online, and he can give missions and whatnot. But in the events of Red Dead Redemption 2, the main story, Horseshoe Overlook chapter, after the botched ferry robbery in Blackwater, Sean becomes separated from the others and was one of the few members who did not end up with the gang in the new hideout at Coulter. He was subsequently captured by bounty hunters led by Ike Skelting and interrogated for information on the gang, but Sean told them nothing. After moving to Horseshoe Overlook, a new hideout close to the town of Valentine, the gang hears from Josiah Trelawney about Sean's aforementioned apprehension by the bounty hunters. As a result, Arthur, Javier, Charles, and Trelawney set out to rescue him. They meet on a hilltop overlooking Blackwater where they discuss their options, deciding to rescue him before he reaches a federal prison that he was being transferred to out west. After spotting Sean being escorted off a boat, Trelawney decides to distract some bounty hunters, allowing Arthur and Javier to silently neutralize them. Soon afterward, a large gunfight ensues, resulting in a gang finding Sean hanging upside down from a tree at camp. After being freed, Sean thanks to his rescuers and accompanies them back to camp. After his rescue, a celebration party is thrown for Sean at camp. Along with the rest of the gang, Sean gets exceedingly drunk. At the night he wears on, he begins flirting with Karen Jones, and the two ultimately retire to John Marston's tent to have sex, which is funny because it's not even his tent, it's John's tent, which is kind of messed up if you ask me. They have sex in John's tent. But yeah, that is a scene that happens. Maybe not all players, maybe not, it might not catch it through your first playthrough or maybe a couple playthroughs, but it is a scene during Sean's party, so that was just a Funny little thing. Going on to the Clemens Point chapter, of course, Sean joins Arthur and Hosea Matthews in working for Catherine Braithwaite, who asks him to burn the tobacco fields and products owned by the rival Gray family, which is the mission you're seeing now. Sean talks his way into Caliga Hall with Arthur in the back of the wagon, after which they hide in their wagon and eliminate Gray's security guard accompanying them. While Arthur pours the moonshine over the tobacco field, Sean takes off the sheds and the buildings. When this is done, the duo ignites everything with fire bottles after fighting off the Grays. The two find payroll from another wagon and flee the area. During this chapter, Sean can also rob a homestead with Arthur after finding out about it from a nearby hunter, who Sean then robbed. He can also rob a stagecoach with Arthur and Mary Beth. Sean is later present alongside Bill Williamson and Micah Bell in the town of Rhodes, joining the two and Arthur on a potential job, providing security for the Gray family. However, as the four are walking through the street, Arthur pauses their conversation, noticing that something is off, before they are ambushed by the Gray's hired guns, and Sean is immediately killed from a shot to the head by the sniper. After clearing the area and killing Sheriff Gray, an enraged Arthur blames Sean's death on Bill and Micah's carelessness. Arthur expresses his affection for Sean and asks Bill to give him a proper burial. Sean's death also affects Karen, who becomes an embittered alcoholic. In Arthur's journal, and it also differs if you have high honor or low honor, kind of what Arthur writes in his journal after Sean's death. But this is the one that you get, the entry you get if you have high honor. Quote, he was like an annoying little brother to me. What fun we had riding together. And then also, it says that on the Arthur lamenting Sean's demise if the former's honor is high. So that's pretty much, what he say. But that was a nicer kind of thing to say. And unfortunately, Sean dies. It just sucks, honestly, I feel like he was a well-developed character. And kind of like Lenny, honestly, kind of the same situation with Lenny. He was a well-developed character, and I would have loved him to see last a little bit longer in the story. And it just sucks, kind of like Lenny did. He just kind of died off early, and it just sucks because I love Sean so much. He was such a funny, and like good character with some good quotes. He was just such a good character. But it's more or less a shorter character analysis. I'm going to go into a little bit of the extra stuff here on the wiki, but this is more or less of a short story for Sean himself here on the wiki. But going into his personality a little bit, McGuire is said to be a cheerful man who enjoys spending his time telling stories at the gang's campfires, particularly about his family history. He loves being a part of the action, but he's relatively inexperienced and often overestimates his own abilities. At Clemens Point, he playfully tries to poke fun at Arthur, calling him English and King Arthur. He perhaps is the most talkative member of the gang, as Charles remarks that he speaks incessantly. And Arthur is mildly aggravated by his constant teasing at times. However, he is also somewhat lazy, literally falling asleep doing guard duty multiple times, drawing the ire of Hosea. Sean appears to have a positive relationship with Lenny, who once tried to teach Sean, who is illiterate, how to read. The two are often seen conversing, and Lenny tells Arthur at one point he likes Sean. By contrast, Sean often expresses his dislike of Micah, just like everybody else. Kind of going in just a little bit more extra. Although it is implied that he is from Donegal, Sean, like Molly O'Shea, has a very distinct Dublin accent, like I was saying. Appearance, Sean is slim and average, mid-20s man with a shoulder length or ginger hair. His green eyes slightly unshaven, with his ginger beard being more of a thin stubble. He appears to be missing a few of his upper teeth. McGuire usually wears a jacket of light bluish-gray color over a dirty white union suit and red and brown patent vest, accompanied by blue jeans and a green bowler hat. Unlike most members, this is the only clothing that he wears, with only slight variations. When Sean is rescued by the Ike Scouting boys, he is shown wearing black jeans held up with suspenders, along a gray shirt buttoned at the top with the black square on the shape of the front, going from the shoulders to the chest, as well as black cuffs. So yeah, that's just a little bit extra here on the wiki, but man, Sean's such a fun character, and I think I'm going to and I don't know, I might have already shown you guys them pouring forth oil, the fourth one, which is when they do the final train heist with Arthur and the gang, along with Sean. I might have shown this cutscene before. I don't know if it was with Arthur's character analysis. I kind of forget, but I might have shown the scene before. But I'll show it again. But it is one of my favorite quotes and kind of my favorite scenes from Sean and Arthur, particularly. But it's just such a funny scene. Sure, I'll show it now. It's kind of the same scene you're seeing right now, but just with sound.
Well, at least it ain't your job.
Shut up, Arthur.
Yeah, your job's starting the fights. It ain't winning them.
We can scrap, Arthur. I'm just not good at homework.
I can see.
Besides, What do you care, Englishman? You've got no time for me. I tried to find you work, but then you're off cutting jobs with other folks, and your boy Sean doesn't get a look in.
Guess I don't want to get shot, that's all.
Ah, you're a real fucking funny shit, Arthur Morgan, huh? Real fucking funny.
Calm down.
You better sleep with your eyes open.
Yo, you're gonna sleep with your chest open if you ain't careful, boy.
I love you, Arthur Morgan. I love you. Come on, take a shot. Come on, take your best shot, please, eh?
Grow up.
And let me come on the raid with yous.
Raid?
Don't be playing coy with me, son. It's unbecoming. That bloody train you and him has set up. What you're doing out here, you're going to need guns, you're going to need men.
Oh, that. So Marston told you? It ain't a big show.
What are you doing here, kid?
I'm coming, John. On the job.
I said you weren't coming.
Yeah, well, Arthur says I am. And it's his party, boy, so come on, let's go. Me and the big cheeses. Love it. Can't wait to slit some bastard's throat.
You sure about this?
No.
I kind of chopped it up a little bit, but those are pretty much the whole scene is my favorite. Between both characters, you know, I love what Arthur says and Sean. And I don't know if I probably think I showed this in Arthur's character analysis, but just between, you know, on Sean's side and Arthur's side, it's just my favorite scene between both characters. So, yeah, I'll figure I'd show it again for purpose of Sean's character analysis. But that's just such a funny scene just between both of them. And it kind of, I like how it shows kind of their bond and whatnot. How he kind of is indeed an annoying little brother, Arthur. Kind of how it, you know, that's kind of how it plays out. But that's just such a funny scene. I love it, you know, right before they go to rob the train and whatnot. That's so funny. But that was one of my favorite scenes. And overall, you know, I love Sean. He's one of my favorite characters in the game, amongst others, of course. Such a funny character, so I definitely wanted to do a character analysis on him. You know, even though it was kind of short-lived, it wasn't the longest character analysis. But, you know, I love Sean. Figured I'd do it. And yeah, pretty much wrap it up for today's character analysis. Kind of like I was saying, I'm kind of figuring out what the kind of last bit of characters to do, if I want, you know, which ones I want to skip over and what I want to do for kind of the final stretch of Red Dead character analysis. Then we'll move on to a new game because I got tons more planned for the character analysis series. But again, I just want to cover all the bases with Red Dead, so that'll be coming up. I'll be doing a couple more characters and then we'll be wrapping it up. But yeah, pretty much do it for today's episode. You know, of course, leave a comment down below what you think of Sean. If you like him, you like his funny moments, some of the funny stuff he has to say, whether you like him, you know, what you think about his death, you know, all that stuff. Just leave all that comment stuff down below. Whatever you think of Sean, you know, comment that down below. I'll be interested to see. Of course, amongst other stuff, you know, feedback, you know, all the usual stuff I like to see. And yeah, with that being said, make sure to subscribe for more content, like all good stuff, Discord, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. Links in the description, and along with feedback, you know, let me know what you're thinking about this Red Dead character analysis series, you know, so far with all the other characters. You know, leave the feedback for that too. And yeah, with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.